This is Gretchen Menn with Acoustic Guitar, and today we're going to be talking about pentatonic scales. So the pentatonic scale is everywhere. It has a characteristic sound that's useful in a wide variety of genres. But there's one particular shape of it that tends to be the overwhelming favorite among guitar players, and I'm betting you know the one. You could write an entire course on the riffs and the solos and the lines that are derived from one single pentatonic form. So the purpose of this lesson is not to discourage you from using a comfort zone for so many of us, but rather to encourage you to open up into other areas of the neck and get familiar with some of the other shapes as well. And now if you don't even know what I'm talking about and you don't know any pentatonic scales, that's also fine too, because we're going to start building from the ground up so that everything is clearly understood. Okay, so as the name implies, the pentatonic scale is made up of 5 notes, and there are both major and minor forms of the pentatonic scale. So in order first to start with the major scale, which has been our point of entry for understanding all of the other scales, is we're going to take the familiar notes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with half steps between the 3rd and 4th and 7th and 8th scale degree, and we're going to delete the 4 and the 7. That gives you your major pentatonic mode. For the minor pentatonic, we're going to use the minor mode, meaning with half steps between the 2nd and 3rd degree and between the 5th and 6th, and we're going to delete the 2nd and the 6th scale degree. You'll notice by doing so, we're getting rid of all half steps, which is the most tense interval in music. So the pentatonic scale has a very characteristically less tense sound. So here's your C major scale in its normal form. Now we're going to drop out the 4th and the 7th. So we're going to have C, D, E, drop out the 4th of F, G, A, C, dropping out the 7th of B, and so forth. So this is example 2, the C major pentatonic scale in the 7th position. So now we're going to try that for the C minor scale. Same steps, we're going to just go through the C natural minor scale as in example 3A. Now to form the C minor pentatonic, we're going to omit scale degrees 2 and 6. So, not 2. Looks familiar, right? That's our go-to form that pretty much we all use anytime somebody says play something in C minor, A minor, whatever. But now the point is you know how it was formed, and you'll be able to form it again. And you'll be able to apply this knowledge all up and down the neck. Okay, so if you remember the concept of relative keys that we discussed in the last lesson, that every major and minor key have a relative, meaning a key that shares the same notes but has a distinct tonal center. The same is true with pentatonics. So we're going to be looking at the C major pentatonic and the relative minor, which is the A minor pentatonic. They all share the notes C, D, E, G, A, and C, as shown in example 5 for C major, and A minor, same notes, different order, A, C, D, E, G, and A. So example 5B shows G major pentatonic and its relative minor, E minor pentatonic. Again, same notes, different tonal center, G major, which is G, A, B, D, E, G, and E minor, E, G, A, B, D, and E. Example 5A, C major pentatonic. A minor pentatonic, starting on A. Something of note is that you can start a scale on any scale degree, which we've seen. So don't get confused that because I'm starting the C major pentatonic on a C, that means that it isn't also, you can start an A minor pentatonic also on the C. It's just for purposes of illustration. So example 5B, G major pentatonic scale. And now the E minor pentatonic scale. So now, keeping in mind that the two scales share the same pitches, they really do have different tonal centers. And a good way to really drive this point home is to hear it. Nothing like actually putting it in your ears. So what I would recommend you do is, if you have a backing track that has some sort of like drone or static chord, or if you have a buddy who's willing to play a static chord for you, try hearing them in two different contexts. So for example, let's take the relative keys of C major and A minor, and let's first play just a C major chord, right? Go ahead and go to your A minor or C major pentatonic. We can use your comfort zone familiar form. But now go ahead and play the same notes over an A minor in your ear. Right away. So you have an assignment as usual, and so your mission, if you choose to accept it, and you should because it's to your benefit, is to take all of the major and minor pentatonics and construct them and connect them for yourself on the neck using your fundamental understanding of the concepts as your foundation. So it may have occurred to you that you could just go through and play the major and minor scales you already know, leaving out the appropriate scale degrees. And you should absolutely do that. You should do whatever is a good starting place for you. But one thing you may know, or you may learn as you do this, is that they will start taking on their own forms, and they'll start looking less like your familiar major and minor scales and more like something unto themselves. But that's great. That's perfect. The more ways that you can overcome disorientation, the more oriented you'll actually be on the neck, and that's the whole goal.